Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dias Cast. I am Russell, and with me I have.
Which man?
Well, last we left off, Aquans and Jonas completed their exploration of the Isle of Fog and the secret laboratory beneath the mansion they discovered there. Dealing with several guardians and deadly magical traps within, they managed to make it to the bottom, where they found a generator powered by an engine arcanum, which is responsible for powering the majority of the island's magical devices. It was, however, guarded by a horrific creature known only as the Ragman. This proved far more dangerous than everything else on the island they had encountered thus far. However, through a mix of planning, magic, and perseverance, they managed to triumph over it. Sorry?
Forget luck.
And luck. They managed to triumph over this aberration.
One hit point left.
They also managed to recover the Arcanum from the generator, which caused all the remaining magical devices on the Isle of Fog to cease functioning. Returning to the surface outside the mansion, they were immediately noticed several scrying sensors looking in on the first time on this island in who knows how long.
Yep.
They were shortly afterwards met with the Archmage, Master Amadeus Malzra, who teleported them directly to the Lyrian Guild Hall, where they received the remaining two fragments of their guild crest, now bringing it to completion, having officially proven themselves as protectors of Lyria by accomplishing a task no one had managed in centuries.
Yeah.
Okay. And with that, we are going to be picking up in this, which will be chapter 50 of our campaign.
Woohoo!
We've been doing this for quite some time now.
Yeah, come quite a ways.
We have. All right, so I'll be turning it over to you then.
All right. Simply because we need it and we're exhausted, we went back to why do I want to call it the Whippoorwill? The Crested Kingfisher.
Yes. Well, because we spent a lot of time in the Whippoorwill in Burns Run.
Yeah. And well, we're just gonna have something to eat and crash.
Yes.
That was a long 4 days, and I definitely need the rest. Technically, I already have my hit points back, but that's not the same thing.
Yes.
So we do our usual, our hut and alarm, sleep, and we'll keep watches. And the morning comes. I mean, we're back in Lyria. It's basically quite calm. Very little has ever really happened here, besides we did get spied upon once by somebody unknown.
Yes.
But for the most part, it's safe. So morning comes, disappears. We wake up groggy a little bit, and
portents.
Get new portents. Charged items recuperate a little bit, and as we're going through our morning, just getting ready, we hear not so much a commotion, but many voices. It's the sound of a group where people are arguing or anything, but they are trying to talk over each other. So it tends to get a little loud sometimes.
All right. Is this coming from outside?
You can roll a perception check if you like.
Oh, all right. First roll of the session, but isn't a portent roll. All right. So when we reached level 8th, which we also did yes. Last session, I took the skilled feat.
Yep.
And one of the skill proficiencies I picked up was perception, because we rolled them so often. So I'm now proficient. So that's a 14 total.
All right.
Still low.
Yeah. It's not a hard check, though. You're pretty certain it's coming from downstairs in the common area.
Oh, joy. Well, time for the start of another exciting day, I see.
We don't get any rest. It's not allowed. So, would you like to go down and face the mob?
Sure, let's get ready.
All right, we get ready. We
The
go down.
difference I'm going to make to this is I'm going to not put back on the Elven Chain shirt. Despite the fact it came in handy there, I come to the decision that I think the gold I could get for selling it and picking up just a few more protection spells might work better. Because as we saw last time, armor class is not everything.
No.
As that. It helped against some of the lesser creatures like the zombies and the ghouls, but that ragman was tearing into us regardless.
Us?
All
What was
right.
that? Us?
Predominantly you, but yes, it could have done it to both of us.
Yes. Armor class. It's better just not to get hit in the sense we got a lot more mileage out of mirror image and
Yes.
other things.
I'll probably just end up picking up mage armor. We're going, so I'm just going to add it to the list of treasure we're going to inevitably sell now.
Yeah. We picked up a bunch of stuff, which has to be identified first.
Yes, so we have a session of identifying ahead of us today for the most part.
Yeah, we're going to montage that.
Yeah. However, first let's go have breakfast and let's find out what's going on.
All right. So we go down the stairs.
Yes.
And before we get to the bottom of the stairs, as we're coming around, we notice that the common area is packed. And I mean that literally. All the seats are filled. The people are standing. This place is hopping. And there's a whole pile of, for a gentle way of saying it, academic types who are talking over each other, extolling the benefits and reasons why their particular research project is more important than whatever pile of crap that you've got going, buddy. And that's what they're doing, is they're talking over each other, saying, no, this is more important. We got to check this thing out. No. This has been 500 years. We haven't been able to get here. We need to go and check out this. And that's what's going on.
These are the group of enlightened scholars that we just risked our lives to be counted among.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, the second they see us, first off, it goes really quiet. And then like a heartbeat later, they all start trying at once to petition us to A, take them there, and B, protect them there while they do their research. And this is a friendly mob, but they are all trying to get our attention. They're all trying to talk over each other, and there's just literally no way you can understand any of it because it's just a hubbub. We're standing basically
I don't think tongues works on loud gibberish.
Yeah, we're standing with 2-3.
Also, I don't have it prepared.
2-3 steps up. We're not even in the common area yet, and we can't get there. We have a wall of humanity, and they're all mostly, not all old people, but they're basically the kinds of people who every now and then get out of their lab or out of their library or out of their tower and, look up. The sky's still there because they've been doing research for so long. They're not what you would call adventurers. If you want to roll a perception check, I can give you a little bit more detail.
Sure, why not? Oh, that's even worse. 10.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a wall of humanity. You do notice with a 10 even, there are a few other individuals in here, people we recognize that are actual adventurers. They are mostly pressed up to one side. They just can't believe what's going on here.
Well, needless to say, I don't think we're going back anytime soon.
Oh, you can't be hurt.
No.
So shortly after this, like this goes on for about 30-40 seconds.
I actually probably wasn't saying that out loud, even if not that matters.
About 30 or 40 seconds of this goes by, and then a loud, bellowing, clear voice says, "Enough! This is a serious breach of protocol." And he has a very commanding voice. And basically it all dies down. And the source of the voice, I'll make a roll for it, is a gentleman standing near the entrance, because to the entrance to the actual Crest of the Kingfisher.
Yes. Yes.
Is an inn, right?
Yes, it is an inn.
He's standing just inside the door because he can't get any further.
Yeah.
In his white knight regalia. saying, "This is not how we do things. You do not partition. You do not petition people. You do not go around trying to extol your virtues. You go across the street. You post your notice. Adventurers and the like can read your notice. If you can write it properly, they will come to you and see if you are offering what they're interested in. That's how we do things. So, if you mind, I have business here. File out."
I assume this is Aldrich.
I gotta see what they think of this. Oh, he's really, really persuasive today. Oh, they're very ornery, but he does beat
If it
their.
if it matters, I think he also has intimidation.
No, he rolled really well, and he also has authority. And
Yes.
these guys are bookworms for the most part. There are some students in there. There's a couple of probably what you would call treasure hunters who
Hmm.
just don't want to take any real chances themselves. But yeah, so gradually over the next few minutes, the place clears out,
All
except
right.
the people who belong here.
Yes.
And then he comes over and says, "Well, this is new.
Yes, and not exactly welcome, I see.
No, it's not the way we do things. Otherwise, it's just, as you see, just pandemonium. But the Isle of Fog is not being accessible for, well, a great many time, a long time, like 500 years.
Yes.
None of these people were alive then. There's a great many research opportunities. There's a great many, well, treasure, all
And
kinds
a
of stuff.
great many perils. I say, make sure they're made aware of that fact.
Yes, there is an awful lot that could happen. But that's the reason why they wanted you guys, because you're the only ones that ever made it there and back. So that has its benefits and it has its drawbacks. So one of the benefits is, for the first time, I am not your escort into the inner city. I'm your guide. I volunteered. I owe you guys a great deal. And I thought I'd show you around, show you the sights. We can go see stuff, but you can come and go as you please now. But I thought I can take the morning off of my duties, and yeah, we can go and do that. So, want to grab some breakfast first?
Well, we cannot exactly say no to that now that he's gone to all this trouble.
Oh, you don't want a guide?
No, it's at the point. We can't exactly say no after all that.
So yeah, we sit down, we have breakfast with them, we chat, and then we get up and we head. Basically, it's just across the street.
Yeah, through the nearest gate.
Yeah. And he says, "This is just a formality," because as we go up to the guards that are posted there, they recognize us.
Yes,
Uh,
and we also have our completed guild crests now.
yeah, it is technically our pass,
Yes.
but just in case, someone's trying to pull a fast one by using disguise self, one of the other problems with being famous. Now, I would like you to roll a perception check as we are crossing the street, please.
Right. 25.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, this is the first time that's happened. Usually the numbers are much smaller. Okay. You remember when we were, well, victorious in the tournament?
Yes.
There was a great many people who, well, we're, for all intents and purposes, in a modern sense, we were sports heroes. We had
Yes.
accomplished the games. We did a good job. It's all fun and games. And it was great, and everyone was happy and excited to see us, and kids were imitating us. There is that still, but there's also a slight different edge to it now, because we're not just sports heroes now. We are individuals who have accomplished something extremely difficult, which means Apparently, we are wielders of power beyond anything that they can imagine.
Hmm.
So there is a little bit more of a edge to it now. Not so much as in fear or anything, but definitely respect. No one's running up and trying to hug your legs, except maybe the odd, 4-year-old
Hmm.
who doesn't care. But yeah, there's just slightly different now. Now we're not just winners of a game.
Yeah.
So we get to the guard. The guard accepts our passes, obviously, besides the fact that we also have Aldrich with us, who has a great deal of authority, as
Yes.
you've noticed a number of times now. And we head into the inner city. We've been here, sort of. We passed through because we
Yes.
had to do a few things. Well, mostly it was just applying for um, that 4-day job we just did. But this time we're just walking in normally. There are a lot of well-dressed people. There's obviously a lot of affluence in here. People with money, people with authority. The houses are bigger. The buildings are nicer. It's just a very well-to-do part of the city. Not the outside the city wall. I mean, there's nothing in this whole area here that says cheap.
No.
But this is the cream of the cream, so to speak. And Aldrich, knowing who we are and what we like, takes us immediately to the academy because that's what
Yeah.
interests us.
Yes, because it's one of the things we went to a great deal of trouble to get to here.
Yeah, the reason why we did all that, well, not just the reason, but it was part of the.
It was the reason.
Anyway, it is a goal, and we wanted to be able to have access to a great deal of research, great deal of magic and stuff that we wouldn't normally be able to access otherwise.
Yes.
So the complex for the academy, in modern day terms, would be a lot like a university. It's not on that large a scale as far as footprint, but there are a number of buildings. There is a large tower. It's marked on the map as this, but it is not. It's not oblong or square. It is actually circular. It occupies kind of like the back end of this, and then around it there are a number of buildings, and then there's a central courtyard. And as in all universities and research facilities, there's foot traffic everywhere, people going back and forth classes. We are putting a little bit of a gravitational pull as we go through because people recognize us, they stop and they point, and
Yeah.
we are influencing things just a bit. But for the most part, they all have places to go, things to do, and they're all doing that. The
Yeah.
first thing you notice as we come into the central area, there is, I think the easiest way of describing it would be like a gazebo, or it's some pillars, there's a bit of a roof to it. And
Yeah.
inside there, there is a rather large and ornate um, kind of a bowl. You'd think it would be, if we're anywhere else but here, you'd think it was just like a really fancy bird bath. But knowing what you do and whatnot, you recognize this as a scrying pool, mostly because there's a gentleman peering down into it currently. And there's a number of people actually watching as this process happens. As Aldrich points out to you, this is a permanent part of the facility. It is a scrying pool. It can be used as a focus for the spell. You have to know the spell to be able to use it. And it said normally it's not difficult to get to, but at the moment there's a waiting list because everybody wants to scry. Guess where?
Yes.
And it is much easier for the students to afford this than have to make their own. And so yeah, it's just much more effective for them just to go and use this thing. And yeah, there's a waiting list currently.
Well, that's fine because I do not yet know scrying.
Yeah. There are a couple. I'm not sure. Normally, when you cast a spell, I'm not sure if it's you who does the scrying,
Yes.
but because of there's a one special property of this particular device is that you can um, get a wizard who can cast a spell to cast it and tell them where you want to focus, and you can watch that. Like there's a number of people watching currently
Yes.
because everyone's interested in this island. So um, it is a special feature of this. If you really want to scry somewhere, uh, there are basically wizards for hire who will cast a spell for you if you can get time on it.
Right.
It's like so something to think about. So we go to the main building because the main building is the tower, and the tower is where the library is, and a lot of other things like there's well, there's classrooms, but most of the classrooms are around. But there's
Yes.
also lecture halls, like in the like the big auditoriums, that sort of thing, and of course, the Archmage has his apartments up above, and I'm not sure if Aldrich or we covered this before, but on the roof of this is well, basically there's a dome and it opens up,
Yeah.
and there is a artillery arcanum up there.
The
One of the
one
main
type we haven't encountered yet.
one of the major defense for the city is right there, and it's a good spot for it because it's up high.
Yeah, and it's also relatively central.
Yeah, and yeah, it's one of the big things that keeps this place safe. Just people knowing that it's there.
Yes.
Yeah. So we go into the building. Uh, there's it's huge. It's a huge archway. There is double doors, but they are currently open. There's foot traffic coming and going. So as we go in, it is again the main floor on the bottom is circular, and there is a for all intents and purposes, this is like if you go into any museum or anywhere else, there is a information slash uh, desk that where you can go to ask questions, get directions, that sort of thing. It's circular as well. Uh, the thing of note is, besides there being Clarks, there's tons of them, but there's one individual that stands out. Is quite bulky. He's rather a large. One sec here. Not sorry, not sense large as in the category large, but it's just like a tall humanoid with a heavy set. But he's got not two arms, but he has four sets of arms, and he has a set of wings on his back that fan out like fans, and he has a prehensile tail which he uses to do stuff with. He has on his forehead a crest that's in the shape of a diamond, and Aldrich points out and says, "That's it's a quinton." He says, "This is well, basically he's in charge. He's this construct that's been summoned. His name is Theta Zeta. He is kind of overseer of this facility. Just don't cross him. I don't think any of you guys have any problems." So we go in, and the other thing we notice is if we look up, the first few floors have circular balconies that continue up. Actually, here, I'll just go over the next graphic.
Okay.
So imagine this is a hole. So this is looking down at what each of these is like. There's three of these. So we're currently below this one. We will go up and have a look in a second. But basically, the circular, there's a fan shape of bookshelves going out, radiating from this. And in between each, there is a desk, but it's not a flat desk. It's the kind of desk that has a bit of an angle to it. So when you sit at it, the papers, whatever you are, is more of an angle. So you're not bent over. It's more designed for scribing and also very good for reading. And there's a whole pile of chairs, stools, and you see couches, and there's lots of people. They're reading, they're doing research, they're making notes. Those are some there who are scribing scrolls, and Aldrich points out the fact that a great many of the students can only afford to stay here based on the ability to sell some of the stuff they do. It's just money that they can use so they can pay for their tuitions and stuff. So as we're gawping, basically, because we're tourists,
Yes.
A middle-aged, skinny little guy comes hurrying up. He's got what would amount to like a clipboard kind of thing, but it's got a scroll on it, and he's reading it and he's checking, and he comes up to us and says, excellent, I'm glad you have shown up. I was going to actually go and try and track you down. I was going to send a page to go and see if I can have a moment of your time, but you're here. Excellent. He's, like I said, nothing really noticeable about him other than the fact that he's kind of skinny and maybe in his late 30s, early 40s. He's actually wearing glasses, which is unusual because most people don't. And he says, I've heard about everything that you've done, and a lot of people are very, very interested. I wish to have you sign up as guest lecturers at your earliest convenience. He shows you this. Basically, this is a scroll. Imagine the bulletin board stuff that we see at the Adventurers Guild. Same kind of concept, except much nicer. Whoever wrote this is literally a scribe, someone who can do the curly writing, all the calligraphy. It's really well done, and it basically says, guest lecturers, Aquans Jonas, are going to be available and it hasn't filled in the time yet for a lecture on the Isle of Fog. They will be presenting their adventures, what they've discovered, the difficulties they overcome, all these things, questions and answers afterwards. And he says, please, I think this would be a great thing for everybody here, because most people don't want to go there, but they would like to know what's going on. Lots of people are really curious what you went through. Please say you'll do this. Anytime in the next few days, we'll set up a time that's convenient for you. You just have to come and give a talk, answer questions.
All right. Well, internally, I think to myself, how is it that we're the last ones to know about this?
It's only been a day.
Yes, I know. I look at you and I say, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. I have no problem with it.
All right. Well, I guess we'll okay that. Because, again, it's hard to say no to that after it's all been set up by looks of it.
You can say no, but poor little guy would be so disappointed.
Anyway.
So the earliest I can set this up would be not tomorrow, day after tomorrow. How would 3 in the afternoon suit you?
All right, that'll suit us fine.
Cool. So then he says, "This 1 second, please." And he has on the top of his clipboard, a little thing of ink. And believe it or not, he can scribe really well just standing there. So he fills in the time and everything else, and then he puts it by. He says, "Please come with me." And he goes over it. And there actually is what amounts to the same as the Adventure Guild's bulletin board, but instead of like a whole array of sticked on haphazard requests for help or whatever, it's very well organized, and there's only a limited number of them. So he finds a clear spot and he sticks up this one, and while you're standing there and he's doing this, you'll notice that there are 1, 2, 3 other notices. One of them is a lecture being given by one of the professors.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say what professor it is, but it says the lecture is how to add more than one spell to a scroll, the pros, the cons, and the risks. and it gives a date. And he says, "Oh, by the way," he's noticed as you're reading it, anybody that's well has a full crest like you guys do, or members of the academy can attend if you wish. That's a very interesting one. Not sure if it's advantageous or not, but you can always come and listen to it. And then there's another one. Volunteers are needed to test out scrolls/spells. You need to go and see Professor Xanathia. She is one of the heads of, I think it's enchanting, he says. Hold on a sec. What is she? Yeah, she's the head of enchantment. She has a couple of people who are trying out new ways of scribing scrolls, and if you're interested, you can go and test them out for her. Try not to get blown up, kind of thing. And then there's one other notice there, and it is from Professor Dane Silverstone. He's looking for wizards to volunteer. Any wizard, as long as they have at least 2 metallic enchanted items. He's working on some experiments, and he wants participants in. He's trying to fuse magic items together. That's his goal. Doesn't say anything about success rates, risks, or anything else, but you can always go see him. And the little scribe guy just finishes. Oh yeah, him. Yeah, you'll notice he's in as you came in, there's more of a squat building that had numerous chimneys, and some smoke was coming out of some of them. Yeah, he's in there if that sort of thing interests you. But yeah, so thank you very much. I'm very pleased that I'm definitely going to attend this, by the way. So look forward to seeing you. Remember, it's day after tomorrow, around 3:00.
Yes.
And then he buses off.
Well, we're going to have to remember that appointment.
Probably should show up.
Yes.
So what else we got on here? Oh yes, so Aldrich continues our tour.
Yes.
We go around the main part of the building, like the lower floor. There are sets of stairs going up. He takes us up one of them, and one of the things you notice is at the head of each of these bookshelves, there's a display case. There's sometimes it's like a little lectern where you put a book, and there's a glass case over it. There's a whole pile. I mean, the number of things on display is too numerous to mention, but I wrote a couple down here that might catch your eye. There are 3 different skill books here. These are books that you can read to improve stat scores.
Yeah, these are the manuals and tomes.
Yeah. One's for intelligence, and there's a little plaque underneath it. Usable in 22 years. And there's another one for strength, 30 years. And there's a skill book here for charisma, 59 years.
Yes, so these are for those who aren't aware, these are the magical books in the Dungeon Master's Guide to let you improve your ability scores by 2, but once you use them, they don't work again for a century and a year.
Yeah. So
there's a long waiting list for those, I imagine.
Yeah, and even when they do come up, I'm sure there's a long waiting list to get to use them. So yeah. Anyway, one other thing we noticed, because Aldrich points it out to us, there is a it's a really new stand. Seems to be a little bit more secure than the rest. It is a display case for the Arcanum that we retrieved from Burns Run. It's not in there.
I
So,
assume it's in use.
Yeah, it's currently it's being used for a research item for somebody. Believe it or not, it doesn't really spend much time in this thing. This little plaque say Arcanum. See so and so, because so and so currently has it. That's basically it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of, he says, look, he said we can go up 2 more floors if you like, but this is basically it. Oh, he points out where that lecture hall is going to be that we were going to be giving our talk.
Yes.
I
probably should prepare something for.
Yeah, unless you want to just wing it. So he takes us around for a little bit longer, and then Yeah, we head out. It shows us the squat building where it says, "Yeah, that's the magic forge that you saw that notice for." It says, "I don't know anything about it." It says, "I'm not sure if anybody's volunteered for that or if there's any real call for it, but it is actually a very good place for getting magic items
Yeah.
made."
Yeah.
But
Thank you. Well, we might want to look into that. After all, you are literally brimming with magical rings.
yeah. So anyway, yeah. It's moving on. He takes us just on a general tour of buildings that really don't matter to us. There is one though that does kind of stick out a little bit because he's very proud of it, and that is there's a keep inside the keep. Oh, a sec. It's kind of hard to see here.
Yes, I think we've seen it from the sky before.
Yeah, and it says you don't need to come in or anything. It's just this is where my order, where we train, where new recruits go through their original drills and stuff, and we do spend time in the academy, of course, because we are arcane in nature. We do cast spells, as you know, but most of the training happens here. Most the magic part, they actually come here and help us out, and you can actually hear the sounds of people going about the drills. You can hear metal on metal sounds and possibly the sound of archery and other stuff going on. There's definitely lots of like the training that you need to be a fighter.
Yes. So this is the barracks for the White Knights.
Yeah, and all the training grounds, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They get put through the paces. And he says, yeah, every now and then, he says you'll see a squad of the young guys being put through. They'll be running around actually in town. Um, if you want, you can imagine every movie you've seen where there's some drill sergeant, they're doing some stupid chant,
Yes.
repetitive, and they're just jogging around. Yeah, you get to see those every now and then. So mostly we try to keep in here, but it's kind of hard to run around in such a scrap spot. So sometimes they will actually go around the inner walls. So yeah, there you go. This all took basically all morning, even though it was relatively easy to go through here. It does take time to walk there. It is roughly lunchtime now, and uh, it says, "Yeah, I gotta head out to the guild hall, so I'll walk you that far, and then thank you very much. I was very privileged to show you guys around, and yeah, if no one else has said it, thank you for all you've done. It's most impressive."
Yes.
It takes us out to the outside. We leave. I'm not sure what you want to do with your guild crest once we're outside the inner city. If you want to tuck
Just,
it inside your
I'll just
shirt or
put it
what.
underneath my collar.
Yeah. And then he takes us into the academy. We just step inside because he says, hey, I got some work to do. But one thing I've noticed, you might, the notice board, you can't read anything. There's notices on top of notices on top of notices on top of,
Okay, so this is
it
back
is
at the
just,
Kingfisher.
yeah. Hmm?
This is back at the Kingfisher.
No, this is the actual guild hall.
Oh, I see.
It is packed. You can't, there are a number of people trying to leaf through them and read what's going on. There are more job notices than there are adventures to take care of them for sure. And Aldrich says, I wonder what most of those are. He says, wishes us a good day, and he heads on in.
All right.
So our time is now ours.
Until tomorrow at 3.
Well, at 3.
Well, we have a bunch of things to identify and sell. And unless you want to be giving a lecture as a 15-year-old, I suspect you want to get a restoration spell at some point from one of the temples.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. As much as being 6 years younger would appeal to a great many people,
Uh,
not to someone who's just barely turned 20, 21, whatever it's been now.
Not to either of us, really.
Yeah. So, part of the tour would have included the church, the main church inside of the inner city.
You want to get restored now, or do you want to start identifying all this treasure we have?
Doesn't really matter.
Literally is up to you because
All right, let's go into you. You also were under the influence.
true, I technically am 4 years older than when we started.
Yep.
However, I don't really care.
Yeah.
It's less of an inconvenience.
21 versus 25, 15 versus 21.
Yes.
Slight difference.
Yes.
All right, let's go back in because I'll forget otherwise. We go in, we find the church. I can't remember. Have we decided on a god for this church?
Well, this is the main one.
Yeah.
I think it was the main temple was to Athena.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I gotta go in as a pimply faced kid.
Yeah.
See
the high priestess.
Excuse me, but I need services. I need to have a reduction reversed, please. Wow, that's the first time I've heard one of those.
Yes.
But I can see the acne from here, so yeah, I guess I can understand.
Okay.
So we go in.
Yeah.
And we talk to who's in charge because not everyone can cast Greater Restoration.
Yes, this would probably be the high priestess.
Yep. And I say, yeah, I would if you wouldn't mind. And I'm gonna roll to see if she actually has that prepared today.
5th level spell.
Hmm?
5th level spell.
Yeah. She actually does. She doesn't
Okay, we're lucky.
Yeah, she doesn't carry any combat spells and that sort of stuff in here. So it's mostly just spells for aiding people and whatnot, curing, that sort of stuff. So, yeah. Problem is, I'm the DM. So me setting the price seems kind of stupid. What do you think it should be?
Well, it's a 5th level spell, so it's going to be expensive. Well, just going off of the last time we sought clerical aid, which was when we took the child to one of the temples out there.
Yeah. And the ones that ripped us off, you mean?
I think the price was around 100 gold for a 1st level spell.
That's what they said, yeah.
Well, I think 500 gold donation for a greater restoration probably sounds fair.
All right. That is fine. I will lighten my purse load by a fair amount.
We're going to be identifying and selling a bunch of stuff, though, in short order.
Yep, and I will spend 500 gold pieces because I don't want to be 15 anymore.
Yeah.
Minus 500 gold, just like that.
Yeah.
Of course.
You were literally buying a miracle.
Yeah. All right. I thank her. I can feel my skin clearing up already.
Yes. You probably feel more like yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so
yes.
We're
going to need to explain the dangers of wild magic during that lecture.
Yeah. Because that was definitely one of them. We got off actually pretty easy compared to what
we did. Yes.
Compared to what can happen. All right. So after that, let's go have lunch.
All right, let's go have lunch.
And then probably spend the rest of the afternoon casting identify after identify after identify.
After identify, because I think we have 23 magic items to identify.
Yeah, it's mostly minor potions and scrolls, but I don't cast scrolls or drink potions that I haven't identified.
Okay. Well, the good news is there's 2 of us and we both know identify, so we can cut the time in half.
Yes, still going to take the rest of the day because, just chaining all these together is really annoying.
Yeah.
So, end result is...
Yes, we're going to montage this just so we don't actually have to spend the rest of the session discussing it.
Yep. The 11 potions that we got during my section were 4 potions of healing, 1 potion of growth, 1 potion of flying, 2 potions of invisibility, a potion of invulnerability, a potion of speed, and a potion of vitality. The scrolls were magic missile, identify, dispel magic, enlarge, reduce, dark vision, and stinking cloud. And
For simplicity's sake, I think the identify scroll gets used up during our identify session. All of the identifies we're having to do.
I'm gonna actually hang on to it.
No, okay.
Because you never know in a dungeon. I never prepare the spell, but may actually just want to quickly identify something.
Hmm.
Oh, better than 11 minutes anyway.
Yes.
And then of this, I'm going to sell the potion of growth, the flying, speed, and I'll keep all the scrolls because first off, they're not really worth much and they might come in handy.
Okay.
And in your section, we got 3 scrolls. They were stone skin.
Stone skin, suggestion, and animate object.
And we're going to keep the stone skin, sell the other 2.
Yes.
The potions were 2 regular healings and 1 potion of, what was the other one?
Speed.
Speed. 2 of those now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's sell those. I also managed to acquire those 4 antique boxes.
Yes.
And I am going to resist the urge to, extol their virtues as rare Isle of Fog antiquities.
Because you have a charisma score of -1.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't work very well. So I'm going to sell those. We have 4 books necromancy, which I have 0 use for.
I'm sure someone will be interested in them.
Yep, you can sell those. There are 2 books on meta magic. I am keeping 1 because I want to read up on it.
Yep.
There's 2 sets for transmutation stuff, so I'm going to keep one of those because that's my school. There are 2 magic cauldrons, which give you advantage on potion making.
Yep.
Yeah, sell 1, I'll keep 1.
Yeah. But basically, we'll be selling the one that I picked up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end result of all that is we're going to sell it all, hopefully to Rose.
And the Elven Chain Shirt. I'm adding that to the.
And the Lucky Blade.
Yes, the Lucky Dagger.
Gets +1, and you get to reroll 1s.
Yes, it would have been nice if it didn't require attunement.
Yeah. So we're going to head over to Rosemary's.
Yes.
Again, because we just don't want to spend all bloody day or session here, I should say, just going over each individual one at a time. We're just going to sell the lot. And we came up with a number of pages of ink and paper, which we're just going to basically just swap them out. That way we don't have to go through all that and take up time out of doing more interesting things.
Yes.
So
there was, however, something that you wanted to have commissioned, I believe.
Yeah. My battle with the Ragman did a number of things. First off, it helped me choose what my 4th level spells are going to be, because I was in a position where I could do diddly, and he was just beating the living snot out of me, and I didn't like it. And I was rolling at disadvantage for basically firebolts at this point, because we're just running out of stuff.
Yes.
So what I want to do is I want to commission a +2 dagger.
Yes, because Rosemary sells the +1 versions.
Yeah, the reason for a +2 is it gives me, with all my other advantages and everything else and magic items, the exact same chances to hit as would be with a firebolt. And I thought was kind of nice and easy to remember. The amount of damage I do is greatly reduced, but
yeah,
better than nothing.
So, also, you won't be attacking at disadvantage.
Yes.
And while we were discussing this, you convinced me that it's probably a good idea if we both have one.
It's going to come up really, really rarely.
Yes.
But, like I said, that one battle proves to me that it's better to be as prepared as possible than, be without.
However, they're they're magic weapons that do not require attunement, and it's pretty amazing that we managed to get to level 8 without having to pick any of them up at all.
Yeah. I also was thinking about getting a +2 staff, and I would drop it, convert into my giant 8 form, and then pick it up, which would be like a toothpick at that point. And it gives me a magic weapon I can hit things with. Because the other battle we got into in that was with the priest, the undead priest. And I did 30, almost 40 points of damage that didn't even scratch him.
But it was immune to non-magical, non-silvered weapons.
Yeah, so I thought about that, and then nah.
That is going to come up far less often.
Yeah, it was annoying, but that's all it was.
All right.
The giant ape absorbed a lot of damage, and that was perfectly fine. So yeah, just a +2 weapon.
So if I remember correctly, we discussed that it was going to cost 750 gold per dagger to commission for the creation of those.
And it's going to take some time.
It's going to take some time, yes.
But we're in no rush.
Right. So that comes to 1,500, which we're taking out of the gold we're getting from that, obviously.
Yep. So yeah.
So how much does that leave?
We end up with enough for, believe it or not, 20 pages of ink and paper each.
All right, so
you can add that to your pile.
Yes, so it's 50 per. So
one other thing I want to ask Rosemary while I'm here, and it says I'm in the process of the other thing that got brought to bear during that battle is I would like to increase my potency of my healing magic for making potions, and I already know how to make regular potions and greater. I want to move up to superior, and I want to ask her, is there any special ingredients for that? And she says yes. Besides the mandrake and the regular herbs that you would do for the other two, you need basically what's called well, it's called hydra powder. It is a distillation or crystallization of the skin of a hydra.
The shed skin.
The shed skin. Yeah. Well, I suppose you can kill one if you really want to, but the shed skin is the easier, safer way to go. And she says, yeah, it's very, very hard to come by. I currently don't have any, which is not a big surprise. She says, I would actually dearly like some myself. She says, normally I don't do this because you never know who's going to take advantage of you. But word of you guys, it's everywhere. Every other person that comes in here is talking about your exploits, and you've treated me fairly, and I haven't had any issues with you guys, unlike some of the other people that try to come in here. Says I had a supplier. Well, basically, it was an adventurer. He had found a lair for a hydra, and he would periodically go and get some for me because they only shed like once or twice a year, so it is like a very rare commodity. And he has never, last time he went, he didn't come back. So sometime in the next few weeks or months, come by, we'll negotiate, and we can come to an agreement, and maybe we can come up with something mutually beneficial for that particular very hard to come by commodity.
All right. So after you have that discussion, there's a few more things I want to pick up.
Oh, okay.
One thing, I've sold off the Elven Chain shirt, so my armor class has gone back into 12, so I would like to pick up a scroll of the first level spell Mage Armor, of which there is going to be ample supply, I imagine, because this is a
well, you recall my statement when we were in the academy. There's a bunch of students there, and that's what they do is they crank out scrolls.
Yeah.
And Rosemary is one of the places they sell them because That's how they make their money. That's how they can afford to go there.
All right, so it's a first level scroll, which means it's 100 gold.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. I'd also like to add on to that a couple of spell components, which are going to be relatively cheap, fortunately. So we can just add those on if you want.
Sure.
Mage armor requires a small square section of cured leather. I'm just going to get that. And one of my sorry.
You get that anywhere.
Yeah.
Go to a tailor shop.
Yeah, but we're in a magic shop that supplies spell components.
Yeah, that's fine.
And one of the spells I picked up when we reached 8th level was locate creature, which might come in handy when we go looking for a hydra, it seems, which requires a bit of fur from a bloodhound.
Yeah.
I can't imagine finding that anywhere else but a magic shop, so.
Unless you know someone who has a pet bloodhound.
Which we don't. So I'm going to pick up those spell components to add to my component pouch, and I'm going to add the scroll on, and I'm going to copy that into my spell book.
All right.
Presumably we get back to the Crested Kingfisher because it's only a first level spell.
Yeah. So
going forward, that will replace the armor class boost I got from the Elven Chain shirt.
Yeah.
It's only a difference of 1.
I may at some point in time think about doing the same.
True. Technically, because I have the spell, I can cast on you because you're unarmored.
Yeah. So that was being rather generous in the amount of time all this took. I'm going to say by the end of all this, all the identifies, you doing your mage armor transcribing.
It only takes 2 hours.
It doesn't take long, but I am going to put this at, by the time we're done all that, we're relatively midday next day. Because even though it only takes technically 11 minutes to identify, we're not just going to rapid fire these things. They do take some time. And one of the things I want to do while you're doing that transcribing is I want to actually do some of the research for making this scroll. Making the next level up of healing potion. So I am going to cast enhanced ability on myself.
So this is to make the potions of superior healing.
Yes. Oh, that's not going to cut it. What is it going to be, a 20, right?
Yes, this is DC 20.
All right, burn of luck. Second point of luck. Last point of luck. And that would be a natural 1.
Natural. Okay. Luck lets you choose what you take, right? You don't have to take the final one.
No, I don't get the natural 1. Though.
That's good because that would be 2 fails.
I have currently failed
the first check.
The first check on my ability to make superior potions.
Yeah, so you're trying to figure out the formula. This is treated the same way as death saves are, so it's 3 successes or 3 fails, and you've failed the first time, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's not an auspicious start.
The DC 20 is a little hard for you, it seems.
Yeah, highest number rolled was 9. So that sucks.
Yes.
All right, so we spend the rest of the day. I want to make some scrolls as well. I'm going to do all of that off camera because there's nothing special about any of this. The only thing I want to mention is the one thing I want to make that is a scroll of Dispel Magic, but I want to make it at 4th level. It may sit around in my inventory forever, but I don't sometimes.
That's what the 4th level invisibility scroll is currently doing.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't want to take the chance and roll. So yeah, I want to do that. I mean, I already have in that pile of stuff, there is a Dispel Magic scroll, so I'll just keep that one, and I'll make one at 4th level. Just like I said, just in case that time comes up when.
Technically, I still have Dispel Magic prepared, but if you're going to have 2 scrolls of it kicking around, I might swap that out for something else.
Yep, and there is a couple of other scrolls I want to make, but but there's nothing special about any of them. And I'm going to take time in the next few days to recharge my ring of spell storing, which is completely empty currently. And again, nothing special on there. Just a couple of things I want to keep track of. So that brings us to lunchtime on
The day before the lecture.
The day before, we get to stand in front of a pile of people and tell them of our adventures. Is there any preparations you want to do for that?
I mean, well, the only spell I really swapped out is I'm going to swap out Dispel Magic for Tongues, just because it might be handy going forward.
Okay.
Oh. Hang on. Because it's a new day, I get 2 new portents.
Yeah. Hey, if you ever roll a natural 20, let me know.
Well, one of them was the same as last time. All right. Well, one's a natural 1.
Yeah, I don't want that one.
You don't want that one. We're going to get into combats today?
No, I was just thinking I am going to continue my research.
No, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, are we getting into... Because that would be nice to give someone a natural 1 in a saving throw, but...
Yeah. No.
Anyway, it's so important. Well, we basically remember, for the most part, what happened on the island. We were just there.
Yep. Okay, that's fine.
I mean, we're not technically writing a speech, I don't think.
No. All right. At some point in time, we are going to get out and stretch our legs.
Yes.
Because, it's not healthy to sit upstairs, and even though it is our job. Oh, by the way, if you want to make scrolls and you want to do research and that sort of stuff, we do now have a much better place to go and do it.
Yes.
We can sit at one of those really nice long tables, spread our stuff out, we can do all our writing there. We can come and go as we please now.
Yes.
Well, and actually, I'll probably do most of my scroll making there. And we are spending a few days doing this. This is not happening over the next few minutes.
No, that's fine. But for the moment, I think we need to prepare for this lecture we're giving, apparently. That we only just found out about.
Well, yeah. The problem with notoriety.
Yes.
All right. So we can sit down, either in the common area or up in a room or in the hall, and we can discuss it. So what this is going to entail is I would like you to roll a d20, add your intelligence modifier, and this is going to be your ability to remember details.
Do I want to use a portent for this?
Well, I'm not going to. I'm going to roll a d20 because I don't have a portent.
You have luck, yeah.
And I'll burn a point of luck. Oh, what? I am throwing that die away. That's just bad. It hasn't rolled above 10 yet. All right. I broke 10 at least.
Right. I will use one of my portents, not the natural one.
Right.
The other one, which is a 16.
Okay.
So that brings me up to 21 total, with just my intelligence.
Yes. Okay. Basically what this is going to do is during the lecture, you will have advantage on your performance check.
Oh, we're making... Okay.
Because you remember most of the details. I did not get high enough. I'll be rolling straight.
All right, then.
So yeah, that's going to take a bit of time. So evening's going to come.
Well, we remember most of the important bits. It was the shifting magical fields, the Hakuva, the Ragman, the field generators, the weird mutants.
Yes, the mutants, the zombies.
The artificial specters.
Yeah, and, well, we know the details.
Yes.
We made the scenarios.
Yes.
Does have an advantage that way. No, this is just to not be the kind of people who put their audience to sleep.
All right.
So, yeah, this takes the rest of the afternoon. Evening comes. We do our usual stuff and go to sleep.
Oh, we aren't doing the lecture?
No, that's tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah, tomorrow at 3.
Oh, I thought it was today.
No. There's a day in between.
Okay.
So we wake up in the morning, and this is now the day of the lecture.
All right. I get 2 new portents.
2 new portents. I get my luck back. Not that it's been doing me any good at all. And I have prepared enhanced stability.
All right. Apparently, it's not better to be lucky than good.
So it's the morning. We eat breakfast. Things have died down. I mean, people still pay attention when we go by, but they've gotten over the shock and awe of it.
Yes.
And things are kind of returning more to normal. It's been a couple of days now. You do notice as we walk around in the inner city, there's an awful lot of preparation underway. Lots of supplies are being bought. Lots of people are running around trying to get things ready. Obviously not like wizards and stuff. It's mostly just like pages and various servants and people whose job it is to go and make sure everything's prepared. And there seems to be an awful lot of activity. So one of the things that I would like you to roll a perception check for now is come up.
All right. Just a straight roll?
Yeah, just you. You've resummoned Alice, haven't you? Did you forget to resummon your familiar?
We didn't mention it.
Well, just a straight roll then.
12.
That's funny. The theme of our campaign is doesn't matter how good you roll, it's how badly the person who's
Yes.
opposing you rolls.
You do not have to roll well, just well enough.
Yep. And your 12 beats the 1. A natural 1.
All right then.
You notice a short halfling girl wearing a cloak trip over something in the street.
I assume this is Bree.
You do recognize her voice when she uttered an expletive. Tripping. Yes, you see. Well, you don't see her, but you do recognize the cloak. Well, it's an elvish cloak,
The cloak we gave her, yeah.
Yeah, but you recognize the cloak, you recognize her voice, and she's right there in the inner city. Not in here, but we're walking across this way. And
yes, Bree has avoided coming in here, as far as for the most part.
Yep. So you've noticed her. She's keeping her head down. She has noticed diddly.
You noticed her? Yes, you rolled a natural 1.
She rolled a natural 1. I don't even have to bother rolling. It's under my passive.
Oh, and just for clarification, going forward, my passive perception is 16 now.
Yeah. So yeah, she's being rather clumsy at the moment.
I'm going to walk over to her and I say, Bree, the cloak doesn't work that way.
She freezes for a second. And then slowly lifts her foot back and says, "Hi, guys. I would like you to roll an insight check, please."
All right. This is usually contested. 21 total.
You've known her all your life.
Yes. Well, known her all her life.
And I've known her all her life. She is looking like the cat who's been caught with a dead mouse who is...
She looks guilty.
Oh, yeah. She looks like she's up to something. that she doesn't want us to know about. That's written all over her face because she rolled a 5.
Plus whatever her deception score is, which is just her charisma, I think. I don't think she has deception.
No, so not doing well today, Bree. So she hurriedly says, "Sorry, guys, I really like to talk and have lunch and whatever, but I got stuff I need to do." And then she starts to try to head off.
Are we going to try and stop her?
No.
All right, well, let her go. I said, well, she's up to her old tricks, I see.
The question is, do you want to follow her? See what she's up to.
Well, the normal method of doing that, I don't have, because I apparently, in all our preparations, forgot to resummon my familiar.
Oh, mine's still around. There is another one.
Bree does know what our familiars look like.
Yes. She sees an owl flying around. She's going to say,
Especially if it's going to be yours, because...
Yeah. Now, if you really, really want to do this, I can cast invisibility on us.
Yep. I also can technically cast Arcane Eye and pursue her with that, and that's invisible as well. That is a 4th level spell.
It's up to you. What do you want to do? Just let her go?
I'm actually going to roll for this to see.
Okay.
Just how curious. Oh, and that's a middling 10.
No, you're going to actually have to decide.
She's up to something in a city that will probably not be rather tolerant to her being up to something. This might be worth looking into. And I said, would you mind sending an invisible your familiar invisible to look in on her?
All right. I have my owl pop into existence.
Yep.
And I cast invisibility on her and tell her to follow. And I point to Bree.
Yes.
She knows. Well, I know who Bree is. She knows who Bree is.
Yes.
All right. So Bree is now going in through the crowd, which is actually quite extensive because of all that other stuff I told you about.
Bree does have advantage to stealth.
Yep. Oh. And in short order, my owl loses sight of her.
Yeah, I think the cloak also gives the owl disadvantage to perceive her, but it has advantage, so they just cancel out.
Yeah. So Bree finally remembers all her skills and
it's gone.
Hobbit like swiftness and agility and ability to hide, and is now gone somewhere in the crowd.
Well, we could. I don't have locate creature prepared, unfortunately. I didn't think of it. Yeah. I didn't think we were going to need it.
So yeah, something's going on.
Something is going on.
Something she doesn't want us to know about, which is kind of interesting.
Yes. Bree does tend to just... Bree's terrible at keeping secrets. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and usually she's quite happy to share whatever she's up to with us, but not today.
Well, that will probably be a problem for later, then, I think.
Yes. So that took up about 20 minutes of our lives. So I mean, there is a bit of time to kill. Do you want to head in now and prepare for our lecture coming up?
Sure. I don't think we can really prepare much more than we already have.
This is more semantics, really.
Yes.
All right. So we go in. That Clark sees us. And, oh, he's actually looks relieved. He says, "I'm so glad you're here." He says, "There's a waiting list to get in. The It says it's
How does
still
that work for a lecture?
it's a couple of hours
Hmm.
till you guys need to, well, you don't need to. A couple hours before the actual start for this, the auditorium is already full. There's people standing in the aisles. They can't get in. That's what I meant by a waiting list.
Okay.
There's people outside the doors. You can see them.
Well, I
So,
assume there's
anyway,
another way that we're going to go in because there's always multiple ways into a lecture hall.
well, there's always, the where everyone comes in, but there's also the backstage, side stage things that
Yes.
where the people are actually going to be, giving the talks are. So, yeah, we go through a bunch of preparation stuff, and then we get escorted to where we need to go. And at the entrance to the auditorium, the part where we go in, we are met by the Archmage Amadeus. He says, "Hey guys, I'm looking forward to this. Definitely uh, want to hear all about your adventures. I know I've heard most of it already anyway, but it's kind of neat to see it all together. So have fun with it." And he says, "I'm gonna go take my seat and break a leg."
All right, then.
So I am going to try out something I haven't done before. Enhanced ability lasts a while.
An hour.
Yeah. But I don't want people to know I'm casting it. So I've done some
You could
research.
cast it now before we go. Okay.
Oh no, there's people everywhere.
Okay.
This is not quiet here even. So to give myself a chance at performance, which I have a negative score for,
It's charisma.
I'm going to cast enhanced ability on myself for charisma. Which is that one anyway?
Eagle's Splendor.
Eagle Splendor. And I'm going to use
This is all about your new feat.
my new feat for level 8, which is I'm going to use a point of meta magic, and I'm going to cast it subtly.
Okay. Yep. You are now a meta magic adept.
Yep. So I'm going to cast that.
Yep. So so you only need the material component for the spell then,
Which is my wand.
which is your arcane focus.
Yeah. So in we go.
In we go. And
And
you have and you're quite charismatic for the next little while.
I am less horribly charismatic.
Yes. You have advantage.
Yes. And 3 points of luck because apparently I need it all. So we go in, and it is full.
This is this brings back memories.
All the seats are full.
Yeah.
All the aisles are full. There's people standing and seated everywhere. The back doors are open. There's people standing there watching. This is the event of the season. This is something everybody wants in on. They want to
This is
hear about
putting
this.
the Guild Crest tournament to shame.
Yeah. Well, this is the Guild Crest tournament for eggheads. Even though a lot of these people were at the tournament as well, this is more their cup of tea. This is the kind of thing that they all aspire to. If you want to go that far. All right, so Amadeus is seated because he's the Archmage and he doesn't have to do this sort of thing.
Yes, he's an archmage. He gets a reserved seat.
Yeah, and the rest of the councils there as well. There is, besides the Archmage, we've been introduced sort of to these people. We saw
So these
them
would be
all.
the heads of faculty.
Yeah, well, we were standing in there with a group of people who thought they wanted to go to the aisle and decided against it. They were all seated there, and
Yeah.
I don't remember we went through their names then.
We did not.
All right. So besides Amadeus Malzar, he's Malzra. Sorry, he's the head of the.
Headmaster for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. There's Ahmed. He is the head of conjuration.
Yep.
Camilla. She is. The name should say it all. The head for necromancy. Dane Silverstone, we already heard about because
He runs the forge.
Runs the forge. Elsbeth, unusual. She's the head of evocation, but she's also in a wheelchair. I guess evocation doesn't always go well.
Yes.
There's Gimbal Gobblefern. He's a gnome. Megara, she has her hood up, but it's she's a Medusa. So instead of turning everyone to stone, she keeps her head covered.
Yes.
And then there's Xanathia, which we already knew about because she's the one
The head of
doing...
enchanting, and she's the one with a scroll request.
Yep. And then there's Lucan. He's a dark elf, which is unusual to have a whole lot of those. And he's involved mostly in illusion.
Yes.
So yeah, they're all there. They're all in the front row.
Yeah, they have reserved seats, I imagine.
Yeah. If the seat's filled, they just point to it and say, get out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're in the front row. There is another individual. No one we know.
Yes.
He's up at the lectern. And he says, here is our guest lecturers of honor. They don't need any introductions. I'll introduce them anyway. If you were at the tournament, they were known as Fire and Ice.
I wince at that name.
They are Jonas and Aquans. They have recently returned from the Isle of Fog, the first to do so since the fall, and they have successfully brought down all the barriers. And as you all know, because most of you have tried to hire passage on ships and get people to do all the work for you, so many of you want to go there, which will be happening soon as the basically the warships of Lyria has a couple of actual ships that are involved in protecting the harbor and stuff. They're out there cleaning away a few of the water monsters that are still lingering. Seems a lot of that's dissipating because once the Isle has lost all that enchantment, they're just going about their things, but they're just making sure that this shipping is safe. The next day or two, actual merchant ships are for hire to take people there. So anyway, I've talked to you enough. Oh, sorry.
Before the lecture begins, I know there's a lot of people here, like a ridiculous amount of them, but his comment about us being the first two to return from the Isle of Fog has jogged something in my memory. We were not the only ones to... We did meet someone else on that island.
Not common knowledge.
No, not common knowledge, no. But we do know who that person was, and we saw them up close. Yeah. I just want to look out in this crowd and see if I can spot their face as a possible.
Go for it.
Because
disadvantage, please. Because first off, I don't know if you suffer from stage fright or not, but there's an awful lot of faces here.
I've never really suffered from stage fright before. I have done public speaking. Wow. Both 16s. So that's 22 total.
22 total.
At disadvantage.
At disadvantage. That's impressive.
That is impressive.
I can't even roll above 9 and with advantage.
I mean, again, this proves nothing, but
yeah,
they're both 16s. I don't think I don't think that shows up.
No. All right, you with that sudden insight to look for this individual, scan the audience rather quickly and efficiently, but nowhere to be seen.
All right. And I suppose with that, we're going to take our spot at the podium.
Yes. So we've been introduced. We stand up there and we give our talk. So I'm not going to go through all this because those who are interested can watch the last of the 4 videos that will be.
Yes. We're not going to give an entire lecture on this. We did 4 whole sessions dedicated to this, 4 whole chapters, 8 videos of our adventures on that island.
Yep. Getting there, going through the barrier, dealing with the specters, dealing with the zombies, dealing with all the mutants, dealing with the ice mutants that were protecting each of the artifacts that were producing the specters that created and maintained the barrier. Getting to the central area.
I do not think it should become public knowledge that there was someone else apart from us who managed to get ashore the island I think that should probably not become public knowledge during this lecture. If we want to bring it up with the Archmage later, we can, but I don't think we should mention that.
All right. And then dealing with the central area, the only building that was relatively intact,
The mansion.
the mansion, yeah. And then with the undead,
Kuva.
yeah, undead cleric, and then the ragman and the final, all that stuff. We're going to cover all the regular details, some of the stuff we found, some of the traps we overcame,
Some of the
so,
glyphs of warding, which you really suffered dealing with.
yeah. So I would like you to roll a performance check, please, with advantage because you did all the research and stuff and rolled well on that. So,
Do I want to use a portent? I mean, I think it's overkill to use a 19 on this. So I'll roll. Well, I should have used the 19. So with my charisma modifier of +1, that is a 10.
Oh, a few people nodding off at that one. All right, so let's see if I can. This is going to be an average in the end, anyway. So I have advantage on this.
So did I. Your modifier's worse.
So with advantage, that is a 12.
-1.
No, that's with the
Oh,
minus
so
one.
okay.
So I am going to burn a point of luck. Second. Oh, we're up to a 14. I think that's pretty good for me. I think I'll stick with that. So that's a 14 and a 10. So we come up to above, slightly above 12 and a half.
Yeah.
It's probably better lecture than some of the profs give because some of them will put you to sleep, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And we cover our details. We don't really miss anything. It's not standing ovation material or anything, but it's good. We did a good job, and by the time they're done, there's a Q&A, of course. They ask us questions. How you're just going to be honest about the stories, the stuff you have to ask?
Yes, the only detail I'm going to omit is that individual we met.
Okay, so that's going to require only a little bit of deception. So if you can roll a deception roll with advantage to skirt that one issue, and I will do the same.
All right, that's much better.
Good.
16.
With advantage, 4. Is deception? Deception's charisma, right?
Deception is charisma, I'm afraid.
Yeah, 4. So what was yours?
16.
So that still averages out to 10. So
We weren't asking for much. We're not really deceiving anyone. We're just omitting a minor fact.
yeah, a few of the more astute individuals in the auditorium will probably pick up the fact that we're not covering absolutely everything, but that's
normal in a lecture. People do forget things.
yeah, it's basically we are leaving out something. They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But being wizards with secrets of their own, it
Yeah.
is not something unusual for us to hold back just a little bit. But overall, the lecture has gone really well. People are happy with it. We get an applause at the end. Then the Q&A goes by without real any events. And yeah, it burns pretty much the whole afternoon.
All right, then.
So it's all over with at the end. And everyone starts filing out. A couple of faculty members, the heads come up and they talk to us, shake our hands, thank us, that sort of thing. They start filing out as well.
Mm-hmm.
The Archmage sticks around a little bit afterwards, just casually chatting. And he says, if you got time in the next couple of days, come see me. I have a couple of things I want to ask you.
All right.
Nothing important. Just just a couple of additional details. Then he hits it. So
Yeah.
we leave.
So that covers our lecture for that we didn't expect to have happen.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yes.
It didn't cause us any. I mean, come on, we faced down demons and undead clerics and standing in front of a bunch of
Whatever
people,
the Ragman was.
whatever the ragman was. Yeah.
I'm sure an autopsy will get performed on its corpse at some point if it's still there.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that was the end of that. We head back to the Crest of Kingfisher for our evening meal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically going to be the evening for us. And we're going to take a short break.
Yes, I think it's a good idea.